chosen one. Why do you feel it right now, that strange electricity crawling up your spine? Why are your hands trembling as you watch this? Why does something ancient inside you whisper that this exact moment was marked on heaven's calendar before you were even born? Listen to me carefully. If your eyes are on this message right now, it's not coincidence. It's not the algorithm. It's not luck. It's a summons. You've been walking through a season of silence, haven't you? Praying prayers that seem to bounce off the ceiling, burying dreams you once held like diamonds, watching doors slam shut while younger voices got their miracles on express delivery. You've whispered in the dark, "God, do you even see me anymore?" And heaven heard every single word. Because October 24th wasn't random. It was a checkpoint, a cosmic tripwire, and some of you crossed it without even knowing. And now the 7 seals are breaking. Before I show you what these 7 miracles are, and trust me, when you recognize them, your knees will buckle. You need to understand why they're appearing. Why now? Why you? The enemy thought he'd buried you, thought age was a disqualifier, thought weariness meant defeat. He was wrong. Right now, in the invisible realm, there's a war council with your name on it. Angels are moving. Ancient prophecies are clicking into place like tumblers in a lock. And the 7 miracles? They're not just signs, beloved. They're doorways. God is about to give you something so big, so sudden, so specific to the prayers. You stopped praying out loud. It'll feel like reality itself is bending to make room for it. But you have to recognize the signs. Miss them, and you'll think it's just life. Catch them, and you'll realize you've been living inside a divine ambush. If something inside you is trembling right now, if that old stubborn flame you thought died is suddenly flickering again, I need you to do something. Type 777 inches, the comments. Not superstition, not magic. Alignment. Let heaven know you're awake. Let this community see they're not alone. And listen, thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're helping spread light to others who feel forgotten in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message is shaking something loose in your soul, go ahead and let heaven see your yes. Now, let me show you the 7 miracles. The first one, you've already seen it. You just didn't know what you were looking at. Why does God wait until you're exhausted to finally move? Why does breakthrough always seem to arrive 5 minutes after you've stopped believing it's possible? And why, tell me, why does heaven feel silent during the exact years you needed to hear his voice the most? Because here's what they don't tell you in Sunday school, beloved. Here's the truth that'll shake everything you thought you knew about how God operates. The silence wasn't abandonment, it was preparation. You see, most people think God sends signs because we ask for them. That's partially true. But the deeper truth, God sends signs when the season is about to rupture, when the invisible realm has finished arranging circumstances so perfectly, so precisely, that one more day of delay would cause you to miss the window entirely. Think about it. For decades you've been praying, asking, pleading. You've watched younger believers get their yes while you got another wait. You've sat in doctors' offices wondering if your body would hold out long enough to see the promise. You've attended funerals for dreams you once carried like living children. And somewhere along the way, you stopped listening for God's voice. Not because you lost faith, but because the fatigue became so heavy, even hope felt like lifting concrete. Heaven has been broadcasting this entire time. Most people just forgot how to tune in. Here's the metaphor that'll change how you see everything. Imagine every prayer you've ever prayed as a radio frequency. Most believers send out the signal, then immediately switch stations. They pray Monday, doubt Tuesday, complain Wednesday, give up Thursday. The frequency never stabilizes long enough for heaven's response to lock in. But you've been on the same frequency for years, even when you couldn't feel it. Even when your voice cracked and your knees ached and the words felt like they were dissolving before they reached the ceiling. That consistency, that's what creates the miraculous breakthrough. God's clock doesn't tick in minutes, beloved. It pulses in miracles. And right now, right this second, 7 specific miracles are aligning like planets in a cosmic order that only happens once in a lifetime. Let me tell you something that's going to sound controversial, but it's biblical truth. What if the delay itself was the sign? Stay with me. In Habakkuk 2-3, God says, "For the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end, it will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come." That word appointed in Hebrew, it's moed. It means a divine appointment, a set time, a meeting already scheduled in heaven's calendar before you ever whispered the prayer. The delay wasn't denial. It was divine timing calibrating to the exact moment when your miracle would have maximum impact. Not just on you, on everyone watching your life. Because here's what the enemy never wanted you to figure out. Your prolonged season of waiting has been building spiritual authority. Every year you stayed faithful when you had every earthly reason to quit. That's compound interest in the kingdom. That's why your breakthrough won't be modest. It's going to be biblical. Think about Abraham. God promised him a son, then made him wait 25 years. Why? Because Isaac wasn't just a baby, he was a nation. The delay wasn't cruelty. It was preparation for something so massive. Abraham's original prayer couldn't contain it. Your prayers from 10 years ago? Too small. God's been expanding the answer. Now here's where it gets mystical, where heaven starts leaking into the natural realm. Miracles don't announce themselves with trumpets and skywriting. They whisper. They show up disguised as coincidence, as sudden peace in the middle of chaos, as doors opening in walls you thought were solid. Most people walk right past them because they're looking for the Hollywood version. They want the burning bush, the parting sea, the angel with the flaming sword. But God's preferred language, subtlety wrapped in sovereignty. He sends a stranger who says the exact sentence you prayed about last night. He causes you to wake at 3:17 a.m. 3 days in a row, and then you discover that's the exact scripture reference that answers your deepest question. He gives you peace about a decision before the circumstances make sense. These aren't random. These are reconnaissance miracles, heaven's advanced team, preparing you for the main event. And here's the part that's going to wreck you. God sends signs specifically to the weary, to those who've earned the right to see them. You think he's going to hand mystical encounters to people with shallow faith and comfortable lives. No. The deep magic is reserved for those who've walked through deep valleys. The supernatural signs come to those who've survived natural impossibilities. In John 11, Jesus let Lazarus die. Let him stay dead for 4 days. Let Mary and Martha weep themselves into exhaustion. Why? Because a healing would have been impressive. But a resurrection? That's undeniable. That's the kind of miracle that makes even skeptics fall to their knees. Your delay has been setting up your resurrection moment. Right now, some of you are sitting there thinking, "But I'm tired. I'm so tired of waiting. What if I miss it? What if the miracle comes and I don't even recognize it?" That's exactly why you're here. That's why this message found you today and not 6 months ago. Because the 7 miracles I'm about to show you, they're already in motion. Some of you have already experienced the first one and dismissed it as coincidence. But here's your warning, your divine disruption. If you've ever looked at your life and said, "God, give me proof you still see me, stay with me," one of these 7 miracles is about to knock on your door. And if you don't know how to recognize it, you'll open it, look right past the angel, and close it again. You've come too far, prayed too long, survived too much. This is not the season to miss your moment, because you forgot how to see with spiritual eyes. So let me ask you directly and answer honestly, even if it's just in your spirit. Are you ready to stop interpreting your life through disappointment and start reading it as a divine manuscript? Because what I'm about to reveal isn't theory. It's not poetry. These 7 miracles are tactical, specific, and happening right now in the lives of God's chosen ones who've been marked for sudden acceleration. The question isn't whether the miracles are coming. The question is, will you recognize them when they arrive? Now, we begin. The first 3 miracles aren't loud. They don't come with trumpets or lightning. They come disguised as coincidence, small, quiet, easy to miss. And that's exactly why the enemy wants you to ignore them. Because these aren't random blessings, beloved. They're test runs. Heaven is checking if you're still watching, if you're still awake. Let me ask you something that might sting a little. How many miracles have you already walked past this month because you were too tired to notice? How many times did God move and you chalked it up to luck? That ends today. Miracle 1. Divine provision. The fingerprint of heaven in your finances. You open the mailbox. There's a check, a refund you forgot about. Or maybe it's not money at all. Maybe someone pays for your groceries out of nowhere. Maybe a bill you were dreading gets cancelled. Something shifts in the physical realm, and suddenly there's breathing room where there was only panic. You tell yourself, it's coincidence. But listen, coincidence is just God staying anonymous. This is what Philippians 4:19 was talking about. My God will supply every need of yours according to his riches in glory, not according to your job, not according to the economy, not according to your age or your retirement account, according to his riches. And heaven's economy doesn't run on Wall Street. It runs on divine timing and supernatural intervention. Here's what's really happening. God is severing your dependency on the system. He's proving physically, tangibly, that he is your source, not your paycheck, not Social Security, not your children sending you money out of pity. Him. And if you've seen this miracle recently, if money or provision showed up from a direction you didn't even know existed, you need to stop right now and say this out loud. Even if you're alone in your living room, God, I recognize your sign. Say it. Let heaven hear you respond. Because when you acknowledge the first miracle, you authorize the next one. But maybe you're thinking, I haven't seen that miracle yet. I'm still broke. I'm still struggling. Then let me tell you something that might sound harsh, but it's true. Sometimes God is waiting for you to stop worshiping your bank balance more than you worship him. Sometimes the miracle is delayed because you're still bowing to fear instead of faith. Check your heart. Is provision your God, or is God your provision? Miracle 2. Heart turnaround, when the cold ones come back warm. This one hits different. Someone who went cold on you, maybe a family member who stopped calling, a friend who ghosted you, someone who hurt you and never apologized, suddenly reaches out. The phone rings, a text comes through. The tone is different, softer. There's warmth where there used to be ice, and you feel it, don't you? That flutter in your chest, that disbelief. Why now? Because Proverbs 21:1 says, the king's heart is a stream of water in the hand of the Lord. He turns it wherever he will. If God can turn the heart of a king, he can turn the heart of your daughter who hasn't spoken to you in 2 years. He can melt the coldness in your son who blamed you for everything. He can soften the spouse who hardened during the divorce. This isn't about them finally seeing the light. This is about heaven intervening in human will. God is rearranging relationships in the invisible realm, and it's showing up in the visible one. But here's where most people miss it. They get the phone call, the apology, the olive branch, and instead of recognizing heaven's hand, they hold a grudge. They say, too little, too late. Don't you dare do that. When God melts a frozen heart and sends it back to you warmed, you don't interrogate it. You don't make it earn your forgiveness. You receive it as the miracle it is. Because that heart turnaround, it wasn't for them, it was for you. God is healing your loneliness. He's restoring what the enemy stole. He's proving that no relationship is beyond his reach. If someone cold has recently come back warm, even if it's awkward, even if it's imperfect, that's miracle 2. And your job is simple. Forgive, let it go. Stop carrying bitterness like a badge of honor, because the next miracle can't come through a clenched fist. You want the door to open? Open your heart first. Miracle 3, sudden clarity. The download from heaven. This one's the quietest and the most powerful. You've been stuck, confused. You've prayed about a decision for years, what to do with the house, whether to move, how to handle that situation with your health. That thing you've been turning over and over in your mind like a Rubik's Cube you can't solve. And then, out of nowhere, clarity. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, it's just clear. Like someone turned on a light in a room you'd been stumbling through in the dark. You suddenly know. The answer isn't complicated. It's simple, obvious. And you wonder how you missed it for so long. That's not you finally figuring it out. That's Isaiah 30, 21 inches action. Your ears shall hear a word behind you saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Heaven downloads strategy when your heart is finally quiet enough to receive it. And here's the thing, you've been too loud for too long, too busy trying to force answers, too busy asking everyone else what they think, too busy drowning in worry and what-ifs. But in that moment of sudden clarity, God silences the noise. He cuts through the confusion. He hands you the blueprint. And if you've experienced this recently, if something that was murky is now crystal clear, don't you dare second-guess it. Don't run back into confusion because clarity feels too easy. The enemy wants you to think that if it didn't come through suffering, it's not from God. That's a lie. Sometimes the most supernatural thing God does is make the complex simple. So here's my question for you. Are you paying attention? Because these first 3 miracles, divine provision, heart turnaround, sudden clarity, they're not the main event. They're the warm-up. They're heaven's way of saying, I'm here, I'm moving. And if you can see these small things, you're ready for the big ones. But the next 4 miracles, they're not small anymore. They're seismic. They're the kind that rearrange your entire reality. And the 4th one, it's already in motion, even if you can't see it yet. Now we move deeper. Because the first 3 miracles, they prepared the ground. But these next 3, they invade your body, infiltrate your sleep, and crack open futures you'd written off as impossible. This is where it gets personal. Miracle 4, unexpected healing. You woke up this morning, and something was different. That chronic ache in your lower back, the one that's been your companion for 15 years, it's quieter. That fog you've been walking through since your last birthday, lighter. The exhaustion that made climbing a single flight of stairs feel like summiting Everest, gone. And you thought, maybe I just slept better. No, beloved, heaven performed surgery while you slept. Listen to what Psalm 103:3 says. He forgives all your sins and heals all your diseases. Not some, not the convenient ones, all. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. God doesn't heal you because you're perfect. He heals you because he's got plans that require you mobile, clear-minded, and present. You think that sudden relief in your knees is random. You think that clarity returning to your mind is coincidence. God is tuning the instrument because he's about to play a symphony through you. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but I'm still sick. I'm still hurting. I hear you. But what if the healing isn't instantaneous? What if it's incremental, and you've been so focused on what's still broken that you missed the fact you can now do something you couldn't do 3 weeks ago? Right now, I want you to do something. Lay your hand on that place, that knee, that chest, that temple where the pain lives, and whisper this: I receive my repair. Say it out loud. Let your body hear your faith speaking. Because heaven is already in motion. You just need to align your expectation with his intention. But the miracles don't stop at your body. Miracle 5, dream or vision. The night speaks. You've been having dreams lately, haven't you? Not the normal ones, not the grocery store anxiety dream or the high school hallway confusion. I'm talking about the vivid ones. The ones where someone you lost appears with a message. The ones where you see yourself doing something you've never done, but it feels more real than your waking life. The ones where you wake up at 3:17 a.m., heart pounding, with a sentence burned into your mind that won't fade by morning. That's not your subconscious sorting files, beloved. That's instruction. Joel 2:28 says, "Your old men will dream dreams, not might, will." God didn't retire his communication style when you turned 65. In fact, he speaks louder to those who've lived long enough to distinguish his voice from the world's static. The veil thins for those who have waited long. You know why? Because you're not distracted anymore. The noise that consumed you at 30, the career climbing, the keeping up, the endless hustle, it's gone. And now, in the holy quiet of your latter years, you can finally hear. But here's where most people miss it. They wake up, feel that electric clarity, and then talk themselves out of it by breakfast. It was just a dream. I'm being silly. I'm too old for this. Stop it. Write it down. Right now. Grab that pen, that phone, that napkin, whatever's close. Write down what you saw, what you heard, what you felt. Because heaven doesn't waste revelation on people who won't act on it. God is giving you the blueprint. The question is, will you build? And just when you think the revelation is complete, just when you think you've seen enough, Miracle 6, effortless open door. The opportunity that was locked suddenly swings wide. You've been applying for that apartment for months, rejected. Then one phone call, and suddenly, we have an opening. You've been estranged from your daughter for 3 years. Silence. Then one text. Mom, can we talk? You've needed financial relief, prayed until your knees bruised the carpet, and then out of nowhere a check arrives. An unexpected refund, a debt forgiven, a stranger's generosity that makes no earthly sense. That's not luck. That's not coincidence. That's heaven's key, turning what your strength never could. Revelation 3:8 says, "I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut." Did you catch that? No one. Not your age, not your bank account, not your past mistakes, not the people who wrote you off. When God opens a door, the entire universe has to rearrange itself to make room for you to walk through it. But here's the test. You have to walk through it. I know it's terrifying. I know the door might be opening to something you've never done before. Something that makes you feel unqualified, unprepared, too old. But that's exactly why God is opening it now. Because if you could have done it in your own strength, it wouldn't require faith. And He's not interested in what you can do. He's interested in what He can do through you. So when that door swings open, when the call comes, when the invitation arrives, when the opportunity materializes out of thin air, don't hesitate. Don't second guess. Don't wait for permission from people who can't see what heaven is orchestrating. Walk through, even trembling, even unsure, even whispering, "God, I hope you know what you're doing." He does. And the moment your foot crosses that threshold, you'll feel it, the holy wind at your back, the angels flanking your sides, the sudden knowing that this was planned before you were born. You've been healed in your body, instructed in your spirit, and now positioned at the door of your destiny. But there's still one more miracle. And this one changes everything. Now we come to the seventh miracle, the one that seals everything. The one that confirms without question that God hasn't just heard you, He's moved for you. And the seventh miracle is peace. Not the fragile kind that shatters when the phone rings with bad news. Not the temporary calm you manufacture with deep breathing exercises or positive thinking podcasts. I'm talking about the peace that makes absolutely no sense. The kind that laughs in chaos. The kind that stands in the middle of a hurricane and doesn't even flinch. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? It's when your bank account is screaming, but your heart is steady. When the doctor's report says one thing, but something deeper, something ancient and unshakable whispers, you're going to be fine. When every logical reason says you should be drowning in anxiety, yet you find yourself humming hymns at 3 a.m. That's not you being delusional, beloved. That's God placing His own heartbeat inside your chest. Listen to what Paul wrote in Philippians 4-7, and I want you to catch every word. "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Surpasses, understanding. That word surpasses in the original Greek is hupereko. It means to tower above, to be superior to exceed the reach of human logic. This isn't peace that makes sense. This is peace that defies sense. Peace that shows up when it has no business being there. And if that peace has landed on you recently, if you've caught yourself feeling strangely okay when you shouldn't be, don't you dare dismiss it. That's the seventh seal breaking. That's heaven confirming every other sign you've been seeing. Because here's the truth they don't tell you in the pretty devotionals. God doesn't wait until your storm is over to give you peace. He gives you peace in the storm, while the winds are still howling, while the waves are still crashing, while your enemies are still circling. Why? Because the miracle isn't around you. The miracle is within you. You want to know what terrifies the enemy more than your prayers, more than your faith? It's your unexplainable peace. Because when you have peace that defies your circumstances, you become untouchable. You become a living, breathing testimony that God is real and He keeps His promises. The devil can handle your tears. He can handle your complaints. He can even handle your anger. But your peace, your calm in the chaos, that sends shockwaves through the demonic realm because it proves he's already lost. Think about it. When have you felt this peace recently? Was it when you should have been panicking but weren't? Was it when everyone around you was losing their minds but you felt anchored? Was it during a sleepless night when instead of spiraling, you felt held? That wasn't random. That was miracle number 7 announcing itself. And here's what makes this miracle so powerful. It comes before the breakthrough, not after. God doesn't give you peace as a reward for making it through. He gives you peace as proof that He's already working behind the scenes. The peace is the down payment. The peace is the guarantee. The peace is God saying, I've got this handled. You can rest now. Job understood this. He lost everything, children, wealth, health, and yet in Job 13:15 he declared, though He slay me, yet will I trust in Him. That's not denial. That's not toxic positivity. That's supernatural peace holding a man together when every earthly reason to stand had been ripped away. David knew it too. Psalm 23:4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Walking through the valley, not around it, not after it, through it, with peace. So let me ask you directly, what in your life right now should be destroying your peace but somehow isn't? What situation should have you on the floor but instead you're standing? What diagnosis? What betrayal? What financial nightmare? What family crisis should have shattered you but something inside you remains unbroken? That's not strength. That's not courage. That's the Holy Spirit fortifying your soul from the inside out. That's God proving that He's closer than your next breath. If you're feeling this right now, if that inexplicable peace is settling over you like a blanket, I want you to do something. Type the word peace in the comments, not as a wish, as a declaration, as a witness to what God is doing in you while He's working for you. And I want you to breathe, right now, slowly, in through your nose, out through your mouth. Feel that? That's not just oxygen. That's the Ruach, the breath of God Himself, sustaining you. Because here's the shocking truth. All 7 miracles have been leading to this. The divine detours, the closing doors, the supernatural provisions, the dream visitations, the sudden clarity, the unexpected allies, they were all preparing you to receive this peace. They were all training you to recognize God's fingerprints in real time. And now that you have the peace, beloved, now that you've experienced the calm that makes no earthly sense, what comes next is going to blow your mind. Because God doesn't give you peace just to make you comfortable. He gives you peace to prepare you for promotion. He gives you peace because He's about to move you into a dimension of blessing that would crush you if you weren't internally stabilized first. You can't carry breakthrough with a fractured soul. You can't steward miracles with anxiety running the show. So God does the deep work first. He builds the foundation of peace Then he releases the flood of favor. And that flood? It's already in motion. So when the seventh miracle, the peace that surpasses understanding, settles on you like morning dew, don't question it, don't analyze it, don't talk yourself out of it, just receive it. Let it root deep, let it guard your heart and mind, just like the scripture promised. Because the peace isn't the ending, the peace is the launch pad. And what God is about to launch you into will require every ounce of this supernatural stability you're feeling right now. Are you ready for that? Are you ready for God to prove that the peace He gave you in the storm was actually preparing you for the palace? Then hold on to this seventh miracle with everything you've got. And get ready, because everything is about to shift. Now here's where most people miss it. They see the miracle. They feel the goosebumps. They whisper, "Wow, that was beautiful." And then they go make a sandwich and forget the whole thing by dinner. Listen to me, miracles are not decorations. They're not celestial confetti thrown at you for entertainment. They are invitations. Divine summons. Heaven doesn't waste signs on people it's not about to promote. So when you see one of these 7 miracles, and you will, some of you have already, here's what you do. And I'm going to be painfully specific because your next 30 days depend on this. First, acknowledge it out loud. Not in your head, not in some quiet, polite internal nod. Out loud. Say it. God, I see you. I recognize this. Thank you. You know why? Because gratitude is the frequency that activates more. The woman with the issue of blood didn't just touch Jesus and walk away silent. She fell down trembling and told him the whole truth. And what did he say? Your faith has made you whole. Faith declared is faith multiplied. Your silence is the enemy's favorite weapon. He loves when you bury the evidence, when you shrink the miracle down to a coincidence because you're embarrassed to sound too spiritual, too intense, too much. But let me ask you something. When you got that diagnosis you didn't expect, did you keep it quiet? When the bill came and you didn't have the money, did you whisper it politely? No. You declared the crisis. So why won't you declare the miracle? Say it. Shout it if you have to. Let the walls of your house know God showed up. Second, record it. Write it down. Take a photo. Send yourself a voice memo. Heaven loves documentation. You think I'm being dramatic? Go back to the Old Testament. Every time God did something major, He told them to build an altar, stack stones, create a physical marker. Why? Because memory fades, doubt creeps in, and 6 months from now when the enemy whispers, "Did God really do that for you?" You'll need your receipts. Joshua 4:6-7. The stones weren't just decoration, they were evidence for the next generation. When your children ask, "What do these stones mean?" you will tell them. Your journal is your battlefield monument. Your photo is your Ebenezer stone. When everything around you screams impossibility, you pull out that record and say, "No, look what He already did. If He did it then, He'll do it now." I've seen too many anointed people lose their fire because they forgot their history with God. Don't you dare be one of them. Third, respond. Here's the part that separates the watchers from the walkers. A miracle is God opening a door, but you still have to walk through it. When you see that sign, that unexpected check, that reconciliation, that sudden opportunity, don't just marvel at it, move on it. Take the small obedient step, make the call, send the email, forgive the person, apply for the thing you thought was too late. Miracles are not finish lines, they're starting guns. Remember Naaman? The prophet told him to dip 7 times in the Jordan. He almost walked away because it seemed too simple, too small, too beneath him. But his servant said, "If He'd asked you to do something great, you would have done it. Why not do the small thing?" He obeyed, and his flesh came back like a child's. What small thing is God whispering to you right now? What uncomfortable obedience are you avoiding because you're waiting for the big, dramatic moment? The big breakthrough is always hiding inside the small yes. Fourth, resist doubt like your life depends on it, because it does. The moment, and I mean the moment, you recognize a miracle, the enemy shows up with his tired script. That was just timing. That was just luck. You're reading too much into it. And here's what you do. You look that lying spirit dead in the face and say, "That's my receipt." Not maybe, not I think so, not it could be. That's my receipt. Revelation 12:11 says they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Your testimony is a weapon. The enemy fears your story more than your prayers because your story proves God is real, active, and faithful. When you declare what God did, you're not bragging. You're building a case. You're stacking evidence. You're shutting the mouth of the accuser. So don't shrink it. Don't soften it. Don't let anyone, not even yourself, talk you out of what you saw. God gave you that sign for a reason. Hold on to it like a drowning man holds a rope. Now here's the final instruction, and it's the most powerful one. Tell your story. Not next year, not when it's all wrapped up in a bow. Right now, in the comments, in your church, at your kitchen table. Someone else's faith is hanging by a thread, and your testimony might be the only thing strong enough to hold it. Psalm 107:2 says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. Not think so, not feel so, say so." Your story gives someone else permission to believe again, to hope again, to expect their own miracle. So go ahead right now, type it in the comments. Tell us what you saw, what shifted, what broke open. Don't worry about how it sounds, just say it. Because here's the truth. When you testify, you're not just remembering the past, you're prophesying the future. You're declaring, if he did it for me, he'll do it for you. And heaven is listening. So is someone who's about to give up. Don't let them walk away without hearing your story. Now, let me show you what happens when you actually obey these steps. Because there's a final miracle I haven't told you about yet. And it only appears to those who move when heaven speaks. Now here's what most people miss, and it's the difference between watching history and making it. While these 7 miracles are manifesting in your life while you're seeing the signs, feeling the shift, recognizing heaven's fingerprints on your circumstances, something massive is happening in the invisible realm. Heaven's treasury is moving, not metaphorically, literally. Resources are changing hands. Influence is being redistributed. Favor that sat on the wrong heads for decades is being violently relocated. And you're not a spectator in this. You're a participant. Let me take you to Daniel chapter 7, verse 22. Listen to this. The Ancient of Days came and pronounced judgment in favor of the holy people of the Most High, and the time came when they possessed the kingdom. Did you catch that? The time came. Not someday, not eventually. There's a moment, a specific checkpoint in the timeline when everything flips. When the meek don't just inherit the earth, they repossess it. That moment? It's now. Right now, while you're sitting in your living room thinking this is just another video, there's a global chessboard being reset. God is moving his hidden pieces into position. People who've been in the shadows, faithful, forgotten, written off as too old, too tired, too late, are being repositioned into places of shocking authority. You think it's an accident that you've survived everything the enemy threw at you, the betrayals that should have destroyed you, the losses that should have left you bitter and hollow. No, beloved, you were being tempered, like steel in fire. Because what God is about to put in your hands requires someone who can't be bought, can't be seduced, can't be intimidated. Look at 1 Samuel 2:7-8, Hannah's prayer. The Lord sends poverty and wealth, he humbles and he exalts. He raises the poor from the dust and lifts the needy from the ash heap. He seats them with princes and has them inherit a throne of honor. From the ash heap to the throne, that's not poetry, that's protocol. And here's where it gets personal. You've been in the ash heap, haven't you? You know what it feels like to be overlooked while less qualified people got promoted. You've watched wealth flow to the wicked while you scraped by on integrity. You've seen influence handed to voices that mock everything you hold sacred. How long did you sit there wondering if righteousness was just a nice word for losing? But Psalm 75 to 6 to 7 says this: "No one from the east or the west or from the desert can exalt themselves. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another." That word exalt, in Hebrew it's room. It means to lift so high that everyone has to crane their necks to see you. It means sudden, undeniable elevation that cannot be explained by human effort. And it's coming, not because you're perfect, not because you never doubted, but because you stayed. You didn't abandon your post when the night got long. You didn't throw away your Bible when prayers felt like shouting into a canyon. You held the line, and now the tide is turning. Here's what's happening right now, in the realm you can't see. Angelic forces are executing transfer orders. Wealth that financed darkness is being rerouted to finance light. Influence that built empires of ego is being handed to voices that will speak truth. Doors that were welded shut for a generation are being kicked off their hinges. This isn't just about you getting a financial breakthrough, though, that's coming. This isn't just about your health being restored, though. Watch for that too. This is about you being strategically repositioned as a weapon in the hands of God. Think about Esther. She didn't just get promoted to queen so she could wear nice clothes. She was positioned for such a time as this to stop genocide, to redirect history. You think your promotion is just about you finally catching a break? No. You're being moved into position because there are people only you can reach, battles only you can win, territories only you have the authority to take. But here's the catch, and this is where most people forfeit the transfer. You have to declare yourself part of it. Not passively hope, not quietly wish. You have to open your mouth and align yourself with what heaven is doing. In Joshua 1 to 3, God told Joshua, "I will give you every place where you set your foot." Not every place you look at, not every place you dream about, every place you step. This is your step. Right now, I need you to do something that might feel small, but carries massive spiritual weight. If you believe this word, if something in your spirit is roaring, yes, type in the comments, "I'm part of the transfer." Not because I need your engagement, because heaven is watching to see who will publicly align themselves with this movement. That single act is a declaration. It's you telling the angels, "I'm not sitting this one out." It's you telling the enemy, "I see what's coming and you can't stop it." It's you telling yourself, "I'm done playing small," because here's the truth that'll either liberate you or terrify you. The miracles you're seeing, they're not the destination, they're the boarding pass. God is about to give you something so big, it won't fit in your current life, your current mindset, your current circle. Something is about to break open that will require a completely new version of you to steward it. And that's exactly what these 7 miracles are preparing you for. So the question isn't whether the transfer is real. The question is, are you ready to receive what you've been praying for? Because it's coming faster than you think. And when it lands, there's no going back to normal. Now here's where most people lose their miracle. You saw the signs, you felt the shift. That electricity running through your spirit on October 24th, it was real. The synchronicities, the dreams, the sudden peace that made no logical sense, all of it confirmed what heaven was doing. But then came the silence. Days turned into weeks. The bills still showed up. The doctor's report didn't change overnight. That relationship still felt broken, and you started whispering that old poisonous question. Did I imagine it all? Listen to me, chosen one. What you're experiencing right now isn't abandonment. It's gestation. You didn't imagine anything. You conceived a promise, but conception is not completion. Think about it. When a woman discovers she's pregnant, does the baby arrive that same afternoon? Does she panic at week 2 because she's not holding an infant yet? No, she protects what's growing in the invisible. She eats differently, rests differently, speaks differently over her body, because she knows something magnificent is forming in the dark. That's where you are right now. The 7 miracles you witnessed, They weren't the finish line, beloved. They were the conception. Heaven planted something inside your timeline, something so specific, so tailored to your tears, that hell itself is scrambling to convince you it never happened. Because the enemy knows this. If he can get you to abort the promise during the waiting period, he wins without ever having to face what God is actually building. Look at Abraham. God promised him a son when he was 75 years old. The miracle didn't show up until he was 125 years. That's not a delay, that's a development process. And in Genesis 15:6 it says, Abraham believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. He believed before he saw Isaac's face. He protected the promise in the gap. Mary carried Jesus for 9 months after the angel's announcement. 9 months of whispers, 9 months of scandal, 9 months of her own family probably questioning her sanity. But Luke 1:45 says, Blessed is she who believed that the Lord would fulfill his promises to her. She didn't need the manger scene to validate the conception, she trusted the process. And you're being asked to do the same thing right now. I know it's hard. I know you're tired. You've already waited so long, and the idea of waiting more feels unbearable. You look at younger people getting their breakthroughs on fast forward, and you wonder why your miracle is still in the slow lane. But let me ask you something that's going to sting a little. What if speed would have destroyed you? What if getting everything you asked for back in October would have crushed you under the weight of it? What if God is using this gap to strengthen your foundation, so when the manifestation lands, you don't crumble beneath the glory of it? James 1:4 tells us, Let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. That word perfect doesn't mean flawless. It means mature, fully developed, ready. God isn't withholding. He's preparing. Right now, in the invisible realm, angels are moving furniture, contracts are being rewritten, people who need to be removed are being reassigned, doors that need to open are being oiled, and you're being trained to carry what's coming without losing yourself in it. This is the season where your faith gets its graduate degree. And I'll tell you something else. The gap is where gratitude lives. It's easy to praise God when the check clears. It's easy to worship when the diagnosis comes back clean. But can you thank him now? Can you bless his name in the waiting room? Because Psalm 34:1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. At all times. Not just the convenient ones, not just when it makes sense. At all times. Your gratitude in the gap is the weapon that keeps the enemy from stealing your seed. So here's what I need you to do. Every single day between now and the manifestation, I want you to thank God for what you haven't seen yet. Speak to that promise like it's already crawling toward you. Protect your peace like it's a pregnant belly. Don't let every negative voice around you miscarry what heaven planted. And stay alert. Because here's the part I wasn't going to tell you. There's an 8th miracle. I didn't mention it in the 7 because God hasn't released me to speak it fully yet. It's the one that comes after the manifestation, the one that changes not just your life, but your lineage, the one that makes everything you walked through make perfect sense. It's coming, and when it arrives, you're going to realize that every single day in the gap was an investment, not a punishment. But you have to stay in position. You have to keep watch, because the moment you stop paying attention is the moment you miss the final sign, the one that says, it's time. Move now. So do me a favor, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, because the next revelation is coming, and you don't want to be the one who missed it after coming this far. You've already seen the signs. You've already been marked. Now walk like someone who knows their breakthrough is in labor. And when it finally lands, when you're standing in the fullness of what God whispered over you, you're going to look back at this exact moment and weep tears of gratitude. Because the gap wasn't empty. It was full of God. It's the morning after the signs. You woke up expecting the world to look different. You thought maybe the sky would crack open, that angels would still be hovering in your kitchen, that the weight pressing on your chest for 20 years would finally be gone. But the world looks the same. The birds are singing the same songs. Your coffee tastes like it always does. The bills are still on the counter. The silence in your house is still loud. And yet something inside you knows it's not the same. The air feels heavier, charged. Like the moment before lightning strikes twice. You saw the miracles. You felt them. Some of you saw all 7. Others saw just 1, but it shook you so hard you couldn't sleep. You typed 777 inches the comments. You whispered prayers you hadn't prayed in years. You felt something ancient wake up inside your bones. But now the question haunts you. What now? Because here's what nobody tells you about divine encounters. They don't end with fireworks and victory music. They end with silence, with waiting, with that terrible, beautiful space between promise and fulfillment, where your faith either becomes steel or turns to dust. If you've seen even one of the 7 miracles and you're still waiting for what it means, type, "I'm still watching right now." Because this next revelation is only for the ones who stayed awake, for the ones who didn't scroll away when the spectacle ended, for the ones who understand that the real test begins after God shows up. Let me tell you what's happening to you right now. You're standing in the space that terrified Abraham, the same space that nearly broke Moses. The gap between "I've seen God move" and "now what do I do with what I've seen?" Genesis 15:12 says, "As the sun was setting, Abram fell into a deep sleep, and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him." Right after God made him the promise, right after the covenant. The Bible calls it dreadful darkness, not evil darkness, dreadful, the kind that makes you wonder if you imagined it all, if you were crazy, if God really spoke, or if you just wanted him to so badly that you conjured it up yourself. That's where you are right now, isn't it? You saw something, you felt something, but now doubt is whispering in your ear like smoke. Maybe it was just coincidence. Maybe you're reading into things. Maybe you're too old to be starting something new. Maybe God's big promises are for other people, younger people, better people, people who didn't waste so many years. Stop, right there. Do you know why the enemy attacks hardest after the miracle? Because he knows what you don't yet, that the miracle wasn't the main event. It was the announcement. It was heaven's way of saying, get ready. We're about to move in your life so dramatically that you'll need to have seen proof first, or you'd never believe it when it happens. The 7 miracles weren't the gift. They were the receipt. Proof that something has already been purchased in the invisible realm. Proof that your name is on a package being delivered by angels who don't care about your age, your bank account, or how many times you've failed before. But here's the part that separates the chosen from the curious. Here's where most people lose the blessing even after they've seen the sign. They don't act. They see the miracle, feel the goosebumps, cry the tears, and then they go back to living like nothing happened. They wait for God to do everything while they do nothing. They expect the Red Sea to part, but they won't even pack their bags. They want the promised land, but they won't take the first step out of Egypt. Hebrews 11:8 says, "By faith Abraham, when called to go to a place he would later receive as his inheritance, obeyed and went, even though he did not know where he was going." He went. He moved. He acted on incomplete information because he trusted the one who gave him the sign. So let me ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly, not to me, but to yourself, because God already knows the answer. What are you doing differently today because of what you saw? Are you still complaining about the same things? Still nursing the same bitterness? Still telling yourself the same lies about why it's too late, why you're too broken, why your situation is the one exception to God's goodness? Or did you wake up this morning with fire in your belly? Did you look at that dream you buried and whisper, maybe it's not dead after all? Did you open your Bible for the first time in months? Did you forgive someone you swore you'd hate forever? Did you take one small, terrifying step toward the thing you've been running from for years? Because here's the truth that's going to either set you free or make you furious. The miracles were never about making you comfortable. They were about making you confident. Confident enough to move, to risk, to believe again, even though believing has cost you everything before. Joel 2:28 promises, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your old men will dream dreams, not had dreams, not remembered dreams, will dream dreams. Present tense, future tense, active tense. God is not done with you. But you have to decide right now, in this eerie, quiet morning after the signs, whether you're going to be someone who saw something or someone who did something about what they saw. The next move is yours. And beloved, I need you to understand something that's going to sound harsh, but is actually the most loving thing I can tell you. God will not force you forward. He'll show you signs, He'll open doors, He'll send miracles with your name engraved on them. But He will not drag you through the door. You have to walk. You have to choose. You have to say yes, not just with your emotions, but with your feet, your hands, your time, your obedience. Because the day after the miracles, that's when the real miracle begins. That's when ordinary people become unstoppable. That's when the elderly become dangerous. That's when heaven and earth hold their breath to see what you'll do next. So I'm asking you again, type I'm still watching. Let me know you're not just a spectator. Let me know you're ready for what comes next. Because what I'm about to tell you will require everything you have left. And it will be worth it. Now we come to the miracle nobody talks about. The one that confuses the faithful and terrifies the impatient. The miracle that doesn't announce itself with thunder or burning bushes or angels singing in four-part harmony. The eighth miracle is silence. And beloved, if you've been walking through a season where heaven feels quiet, where your prayers seem to vanish into a void, where God's voice that once boomed so clearly now seems absent, I need you to lean in close, because what I'm about to tell you will either shatter you or resurrect you. Heaven shouts in signs, but it whispers in stillness. Think about it. After the 7 miracles, after the sudden doors, the divine interruptions, the supernatural confirmations, what comes next? You'd expect more fireworks, wouldn't you? More drama, more proof. But instead, God does something that feels almost cruel. He goes quiet, and in that quietness you start to panic. You start to question, did I imagine it all? Was it real? Did God forget about me again? No, dear one. He didn't forget. He's refining. Because here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. Miracles awaken you, but silence instructs you. Miracles prove God exists. Silence proves you trust Him when He doesn't. Look at Elijah. 1 Kings chapter 19. Fresh off the greatest miracle showdown in biblical history, fire from heaven. Prophets of Baal humiliated, the whole nation watching God flex His power. And what happens next? Elijah runs into the wilderness, sits under a tree, and begs to die. And God doesn't send another miracle. He sends bread, water, and 40 days of walking in silence toward a cave. And when Elijah finally gets there, trembling and hollow, God shows up. Not in the earthquake, not in the fire, not in the wind that could split mountains, but in a still, small voice. Why? Because the noise was for the crowd. The silence was for the chosen. You see, beloved, when God goes quiet, He's not punishing you, He's positioning you. He's watching to see if you'll chase the feelings or follow the Father. If you'll demand another sign or dig deeper into the last one He gave you. The stillness isn't emptiness, it's a womb. And something inside you is being formed right now that will not survive if it's born too early. But here's where it gets mystical. Here's where the veil gets thin. In that stillness, something else is watching you too. The principalities, the rulers of darkness, the accuser of the brethren. They're circling that silence like vultures, whispering lies. See? God moved on. You weren't special. It was all in your head. And if you break, if you run back to Egypt, back to comfort, back to the noise of the world because heaven feels too quiet, you'll miss what's about to birth. Job sat in silence for months. His friends talked, his wife cursed. But Job, he sat in the ashes and refused to curse God. And after the silence, after the stripping, after the waiting that felt like dying, God showed up in a whirlwind and gave him double, not just stuff, beloved, double authority, double wisdom, double legacy. The silence wasn't punishment, it was promotion. And you right now, sitting in your living room, your kitchen, your bedroom at 2 a.m., when sleep won't come, you're not abandoned. You're being watched by heaven with bated breath. Angels are leaning over the balconies of eternity saying, will they hold? Will they trust? Will they stand? Because here's the truth nobody preaches anymore. The eighth miracle isn't something God does to you. It's something God does in you. It's the maturity to stop needing the show, the strength to worship in the wilderness, the faith to say, like Habakkuk 3:17-1-8, though the fig tree does not bud and there are no grapes on the vines, though the olive crop fails and the fields produce no food, yet I will rejoice in the Lord. That's not religion, dear heart. That's warfare. Because when you can praise him in the silence, when you can trust him without the miracles, when you can stand on his word, even when your reality screams the opposite, you become untouchable. The enemy has no leverage. Fear has no foothold. Doubt has no door. But let me ask you something raw, something real. Have you been treating the silence like rejection, like punishment, like proof that you're not chosen anymore? Have you been scrolling through other people's testimonies thinking, why them and not me? Have you been looking at your bank account, your health report, your empty house and whispering, God, where are you? Stop. He's right there, in the stillness, in the waiting, in the holy, sacred, terrifying quiet that's reshaping your heart into something the kingdom can actually use. Moses spent 40 years in silence before the burning bush. Joseph spent 13 years in silence before the palace. David spent years in caves before the crown. Jesus spent 30 years in silence before 3 years of ministry. And Paul, after his Damascus Road encounter, he disappeared into the Arabian desert for 3 years. Silence, preparation, refining. The world wants instant. God wants eternal. So if the silence lately has felt heavy, not empty, but heavy, like something is pressing down on your chest, like you're being held underwater but not drowning, write this in the comments right now. I hear you, Lord, not because you hear his voice audibly, but because you're choosing to believe he's speaking even when you can't hear it. That act, that simple, defiant, faith-drenched act, breaks the distance between you and heaven. Because the eighth miracle isn't the end, beloved. It's the bridge. It's the narrow space between what God promised and what God delivers. And if you can stand in that space without crumbling, without cursing, without running when the breakthrough comes, and oh, it's coming, you won't just receive the blessing. You'll carry the authority to steward it. So here's my question as we move forward. What if the silence isn't God leaving? What if it's God trusting you enough to stop holding your hand every second? What if he's saying, I've shown you who I am, now show me who you've become? And what if, just what if, the reason the silence feels so unbearable is because something massive is about to break through and your soul knows it before your mind does? Hold on, chosen one, because what comes next will prove why the silence was worth it. Now listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you doesn't get preached from pulpits anymore. They're afraid of it, afraid you'll think they've lost their minds. But you've been waking up at 3:33 a.m., haven't you? Not to use the bathroom, not because of acid reflux or restless legs. You wake alert, eyes open like someone called your name, heart pounding like you just walked into a room where something holy just happened. That's not insomnia, beloved. That's heaven's hour, the same hour the veil between realms grows thin as tissue paper, the same hour when angels receive their assignments, the same hour when God said, "Let there be light," and creation itself obeyed. Something moves in the unseen at that hour, and it's moving toward you. You see, when the 7 miracles appear, and we'll get to all of them, I promise they don't come alone. They come with escorts, with messengers, with what the ancients called the watchers. And here's what the modern church won't tell you. The elderly are heaven's reconnaissance team. Your sensitivity isn't senility. Your strange feelings aren't symptoms. You're picking up frequencies the young can't hear yet because they're too loud, too distracted, too convinced they have time. You don't have the luxury of distraction anymore. And heaven knows it. Job 33:14-15 says it plain. For God speaks once, yes, twice, yet man does not perceive it. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falls upon men, while slumbering on their beds. Your dreams have been different lately, haven't they? Not the usual nonsense reruns of your mind sorting through the day. These dreams have weight. You wake up exhausted, like you've been traveling. Sometimes you remember faces you've never seen. Sometimes you hear instructions so clear you could swear someone was standing in your bedroom. Let me tell you about Eleanor. 82 years old, widow for 9 years. Children moved to California, called twice a month if she was lucky. She'd been praying for provision, not lottery winnings, just enough to fix the furnace before winter, maybe afford her medications without choosing between pills and groceries. Then the dreams started. 3 nights in a row, same dream. A man in white, standing at her kitchen table, pointing to an envelope. Not speaking, just pointing. On the 4th morning, she checked her mail, something she usually did once a week. Buried under junk mail and grocery flyers, a check for $4,800. A class action lawsuit she'd forgotten she was part of. 15 years ago, the exact amount she needed, down to the dollar. The messenger didn't bring a new miracle, he brought instructions. Check the mail. That's how heaven works with the alert, with the obedient, with those who've been audited by angels and found still watching. Because here's the truth they don't want you to know. Heaven audits the faithful. Angels are the inspectors of obedience. They're not checking your church attendance or how many verses you memorized. They're checking if you're still awake, still listening, still willing to look foolish following a dream. The lights in your house, have they been flickering? Not electrical problems. Tested the bulbs, checked the breaker, everything's fine, but they flicker anyway? That's not your wiring, beloved. That's the atmosphere changing. That's the presence of something other brushing past the natural world, leaving ripples. And that unexplained peace that washes over you out of nowhere, sitting in your chair, doing nothing special, and suddenly you're wrapped in a warmth that has no source. That's not memory. That's not nostalgia. That's rehearsal. Heaven is showing you what's coming, letting you taste it before it arrives, so you won't faint when it does. But here's the part that should make your hands shake. The visitation isn't finished. It's accelerating. The closer we get to the fulfillment of the 7 miracles, the more frequent the encounters become. If your spirit's been stirring at night, I need you to type, I've felt it. Because heaven isn't haunting you, heaven is hiring you, recruiting the alert. The remnant who refused to fall asleep just because the world told them their season was over. The enemy wanted you isolated, forgotten, convinced your best years were buried with your spouse, your health, your dreams. But God saved you for this hour, made you a watcher, gave you eyes that see what's coming before it lands, and what's coming next will prove why you had to survive everything you survived. Now listen, because what I'm about to tell you separates the curious from the called. After the miracles appeared, something else came, didn't it? A fog, thick, suffocating, the kind that makes you question everything you just saw with your own eyes. Every chosen one faces this. It's not a mistake, it's a filter. God showed you the light then. He stepped back into shadow. Not because he left, but because he's testing whether you'll trust his last word when the world screams otherwise. You've felt invisible lately, haven't you? You try to share what God showed you, and the room goes cold. Your own family looks at you like you've lost your mind. Friends smile politely and call it coincidence. Even the church, the very people who should understand, they pat your hand and change the subject. And late at night, when the house is quiet and doubt crawls into bed beside you, you wonder, did I imagine it? Was it real? Am I losing my grip? Let me tell you what's really happening. That rejection, that isolation, that's not punishment, that's preparation. Heaven is separating signal from noise. God is pulling you away from voices that would dilute what He's about to do. Because what's coming is so specific, so supernatural, so against the grain of how this world operates, you can't afford spectators in your inner circle right now. You are not forgotten. You are being filtered. You are not abandoned. You are being assigned. You are not invisible. You are being insulated. The enemy wants you to think the silence means God changed His mind. But let me take you to 1 Kings 19. Elijah just called down fire from heaven, literal fire, consuming sacrifice, stone, and water. The whole nation saw it. Then one threat from Jezebel, and he's hiding in a cave, begging God to let him die. Sound familiar? God didn't rebuke him. God asked him one question. What are you doing here, Elijah? Not why did you run? Not where's your faith? What are you doing here? Because sometimes the cave isn't cowardice. Sometimes it's the cocoon. Sometimes God isolates you because the next assignment requires a version of you that can only be forged alone. There's an elderly woman I know, 78 years old, buried 2 husbands, raised 4 kids who barely call. Every morning at 4 a.m., she sits in her kitchen, Bible open to worn pages, praying over situations that look hopeless. Last month she heard it clear as a bell. Hold the line. Not, it's coming tomorrow. Not, here's the plan. Just, hold the line. And she did. She's still doing it. That's the test of the watchers. Can you hold position when nothing's moving? Can you keep praying when heaven seems silent? Can you stand on what God said last week, last month, last year, when every circumstance screams He forgot? If that phrase is stirring something in you right now, if you feel that old soldier rising in your chest, I need you to do something. Not for me, not for the comments. Whisper it right now, wherever you are. I'll hold the line. Say it to God. Let Him hear your voice crack with determination. Because here's what you need to understand before we go deeper into these 7 miracles. The fog isn't the end of the story, it's the doorway. And what's waiting on the other side? You're not ready for it yet, but you're about to be. So let me bring this full circle, because I need you to walk away from this message carrying 3 unshakable truths. First, those 7 miracles weren't accidents. They were breadcrumbs from heaven, leading you to this exact moment. The unexpected peace, the sudden provision, the dream that felt too real, the stranger who said exactly what you needed to hear. God has been speaking your language all along. Second, the silence, the isolation, the fog that followed. That wasn't abandonment. That was the refining fire. God was burning away every voice, every doubt, every distraction that would have diluted what He's about to release in your life. And third, what's coming next is so specific to you, so tailored to the prayers you've whispered in the dark, that when it arrives there won't be any question. You'll know it's Him. But here's what I need you to hear with every fiber of your being. You are not alone in this. Right now, as you're listening to these words, there are thousands of others, grandmothers in Ohio, widowers in Texas, forgotten intercessors in Florida, who are holding the same line you're holding. They feel what you feel. They've seen what you've seen. And they're standing with you, even if you've never met. This isn't just a message. This is a community, a family of watchers who refuse to let go of God's last word. So let me ask you something, and I want you to really sit with this. What if everything you've been through, every loss, every disappointment, every closed door, wasn't the end of your story, but the qualification for your next chapter? Let that settle. Now, wherever you are, kitchen table, hospital room, living room, at 2 a.m., I want to pray over you, not as a stranger, but as someone who's fought these same battles. Close your eyes if you can. Receive this. Father God, Yahweh, the one who sees in secret and rewards in the open, I come before you on behalf of every person hearing this prayer. Lord, they're tired. They've held the line until their hands are shaking. They've believed when belief felt like foolishness. And right now, I'm asking you to meet them exactly where they are. Touch the ones who are carrying medical reports that don't make sense. Speak to the ones whose bank accounts are screaming but whose spirits are still whispering trust. Wrap your arms around the lonely ones, the ones who pray in empty houses, who eat dinner alone, who wonder if anyone even notices they're still here. God, release what you promised. Not on our timetable, but with your perfect precision. Open doors no man can shut. Shift atmospheres. Rearrange circumstances. Let the 7 miracles they've seen be the appetizer, not the meal. Give them something so undeniable, so specifically them, that when it manifests, they'll weep with recognition. And until that day comes, strengthen them. Let them feel your presence like a warm hand on their shoulder. Remind them they are seen, they are chosen, they are not forgotten. Surround them with divine protection. Silence the voices of doubt. And let this community be a refuge, a place where they can speak freely and be believed. We hold the line together, Lord, not in our strength, but in yours. In Jesus' name, the name above every name, the name that makes demons tremble and angels bow. Amen. Now, before you go, I need to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me which of the 7 miracles hit home for you. Or if you're walking through the fog right now, say I'm holding the line, so this community can stand with you in prayer. Don't carry this alone. And listen, if this message stirred something in your soul, if you felt God speaking directly to you through these words, do me a favor. Share this video. Not for me, for the grandmother scrolling at midnight who thinks God forgot her, for the widower who's one more disappointment away from giving up, for the intercessor who's been praying in secret and needs to know they're not crazy. You sharing this could be someone else's 7th miracle. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. This is where we gather the watchers, the believers, the ones who refuse to let go. You're home now. Thank you for staying with me through this entire message. Thank you for letting me speak into your life. Thank you for being brave enough to keep believing when the world says you shouldn't. The line is held, the promise is sure, and God is moving. Go in peace, beloved, but go expecting. Your miracle already has your address.